guys, hope you're having a great day today. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday morning to you. I hope that your day is going well. My day is going great. Today is our series and we are going through 52 weeks. It's been a long time. I think we've lost a lot of people along the way and that is quite all right. Maybe they've already gone through their home, which is awesome. We have gone through pretty much every area of our home. We still got a few more, so just hold on if you're waiting. Now myself, I've been going through different areas along with this series and I'm like, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Sometimes I do it at a different week and so I'm always just chit-chat. So today's gonna be a chit-chat today. I was gonna go, we're working on our garage. If you want to follow along, just go back and watch all the videos. There's a lot. What are we on? 27, I'm looking at my week. We're on 30. We're on 30 weeks. We've been doing this for 30 weeks. It's a long time. There's a lot. If you want to, you can purchase the book that goes with this series. It is linked below in my bookstore with all my other books that you would like to support my channel and what I do here. So we're working on the garage today. I went out to the garage and we have a light. And it's LED light and it's starting to like not work all the time. Well, today it's not working very well. So I was like, it's the only light we have. So I'm like, do I stand out there in the darkness? And I'm like, you know, I'll stand here in the laundry room because there's a really great light right there and it works well. So my apologies, but we're still going through the garage. Last week we were going through the tools. We were getting all of that done. Have you gone through that stuff? I know some people said, well, isn't your husband supposed to do that? Yeah, my husband does. He'll put it together how he things, just throws in it. We don't really do, we do stuff in our garage, but not like we normally did. Like the mountains, we had way more work. So he had tools and he was working on projects all the time. Here we're doing life a little bit different. So most of the time it's just, hey, we're working outside and we just kind of throw all the tools in the toolbox. Or I leave it neglected for months on end and I go, oh, there's a lot we have to kind of reorganize in there. And so in myself, I'm always trying to find a better way to organize things so that there's a little bit more breathing room because we have such a small space. Someone mentioned getting rid of things, but it's not that we're holding on to junk, trust me. It's like just the stuff we need. We just have a smaller garage for our size family and that is quite all right. And I put my car in there too, so that takes up a lot more garage space now, but you do what you can do in there. So today is gonna be organizing your sports equipment and any kind of seasonal bins or storage bins that you have out there. So what does that look like in your house? I don't know. We don't have much sports equipment. We have all of our bikes. That would be our sports equipment. So we what we do now. Is it perfect? No, not at all, but it works. So there's 8 of us. Yes, I have 9. There's 9 of us having bikes. I say when Jaden comes over, we can go bike riding. And so that's a lot of bikes. It's a lot of bikes. Could you hook them on the wall? You could, but it would be on this wall over here, which is where my car is, and that'd be the only way to put it on the wall. And so it just does not work in our household. Plus they're electric bikes and so they're heavier. So it's a whole lot different getting the bikes down for the kids. So we just had to put them on the ground. I'm like, how is that gonna look? Because they have to be plugged in. So this is what I did. Is it perfect? No. Is there a better way? Probably, but the way our garage is set up, it's not something easily being able to manage. So we just stick our bikes in our corner over there and I line them, here's the corner, I line them all up in a row based on the bike kit that gets used most this way, and then I turn some this way and do some. And then we have extension cords. Yeah, lots of extension cords. So what I do is I bought a extension cord that was for Christmas lights, which I'll have to remind myself to get. Remember we put all those funky trees in the yard? It was way fun. Our neighbors were like, oh my gosh. But it has like, it starts with the plug-in where you can plug things in, then it goes a little bit and it's got like 3 plugs off of it, another one, and then it goes another one, it lets 3 more off of it. So you can do multiple on each one. So what I've done is I kind of like laid that on the floor. Is it perfect? Not in the least, not in the least, but we're able to lay it across the floor and then kind of plug the cords for the batteries for the bikes in there. I've also labeled every battery charger so that the kids know when they go to plug them in, this goes to this bike, this goes to this bike, so they don't do the wrong one because that will mess up that charging. So you do what you can do. So that is what the setup we have for our sports equipment out there. And like it'd be great to have it on a wall, but then you'd still have cords being pulled up to it. If we had a much bigger space, like if we had our mountain house, it just have a whole lot more space to plug in the bikes. But if we lived in the mountain house, we wouldn't have a bunch of bikes because there's no way you're gonna go riding through the mountains with bikes. Trust me, my teenagers we had a couple mountain bikes they go ride and they were tired going off that driveway. Oh my goodness, it was killer. So when we moved to the city where like everyone is gonna get a bike because we can finally bike ride. So you just gotta smush a little bit more. So that's what we do for our equipment. And then up in the top in the garage, there is very high ceilings, and they have racks out there. Not easily able to access them. You got to get the big giant ladder out, and it's up pretty high. Our old house, I was able to put them all along the wall, which was awesome. We had a whole system installed. I could put everything up. That was great. That worked out here. We just have different life here. So everything's way up high. So everything is way above the garage. So up on the very top is where I store like our Christmas trees. And we do have a couple scooters and stuff, the kids that they had when they went skateboarding back in the mountains. They haven't done it here yet, but maybe they will. So like on the very top, that's where that stuff is stored here, but it's not something feasible to get to. So it's one of those things like, okay, but it's up there. It's there. I know that at Christmas time, I'm gonna have to go, all right, let's get the ladder out and get the trees down. I said, that works for us in our home. So I'm not sure what that looks like in your home, but that's how we do the organization for our sports equipment, our bikes, that kind of stuff. And it works. It just, one extension cord for those bikes would not have held it. We'd have to get a bunch of them. So power strips work for a few, but you still need another cord because it's not all in one area and the plugs only reach so far. So that's what you're gonna focus on: sports, bikes, and any of your seasonal stuff that's out in your garage, because we're still, if you got a basement or an attic, we're still gonna work on those as well. I have a closet, so we're gonna be doing our closet when we do that. So, all right, garage. We're getting there. We're almost gonna be done. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited. Okay, let's go on to the next one. All right, for our healthy routine this month, we're talking about batch cooking. How does that look for you? I even dug up some old videos of myself back in the day on here that I posted on YouTube. Let me share all those while I'm talking here. So batch cooking. Batch cooking can change your life. These videos share how I used to do it back in the day. I would go through different times and seasons in my life where I would make all our freezer meals. And those weren't the only meals that we would eat all the time, but those were meals that we enjoyed having and be able to grab out of the freezer and, you know, take maybe a week of amount of time and just let them thaw, and we'd cook them and have them. And that just was a huge stress relief come dinner time for our family. So nowadays, life is a little bit different. So now sometimes I usually just do weekly batch cooking, and it just depends on, I do like a once every 3 months where I prepare a lot of my meat beforehand, which you see in my videos, and then I kind of do that, and that's in my freezer. So then when I go to have meatballs are done, I just pull them out. When I go to have chicken on the grill, I don't have to put it on the grill, it's already done, pull it out. But sometimes we just do like weekly meal prep thing, batch cooking. So I don't know what that looks like for you. What is that? What is batch cooking to you? What do you do in your phase and season in life? For me, it's just different. Sometimes we do some treats and we freeze them. Sometimes we do breakfast. We don't really freeze breakfast anymore. But like dinners, baked items, those kind of things, it just depends on your season in life. But any kind of batch preparation beforehand will help in all sorts of ways. Now, people always say, how do you start doing this? I would say start small. So if you make pancakes for your family, all right, make double pancakes and then have some more for the next day, or put them in the freezer. If your family loves pumpkin muffins, all right, double those pumpkin muffins and then put them in your freezer for another day. That's how I would suggest, that's how I started out doing it way back in the day. I would just double, and I put a little bit more away. Then I got to, wow, I can do a whole month's worth, and I don't have to do baking once a month. That's awesome. Because baking was an ordeal when you have a lot of kids. And so I would just do my whole table. We had, like our table now, it was all pulled out huge, and the entire table would be covered in muffins and cookies and everything, breads, and it was filled to the max. And I'd fill bags full, and I'd stick them all in the freezer, but I'd have enough stuff for that one day's worth of cooking for a long time, which is awesome. And I did the same thing with the freezer meals. I would do a whole month and then some, but then I was able to put it all in the freezer, and then when the days are crazy, just pull it out of the freezer, it was all done. So it just depends on your season in life. Do I have to do freezer meals like that now? No, I don't, because life isn't as busy as it used to be for that type of season, and not even busy, I just chose to do other things at that time. Could I have done dinner every single day? Yeah, I could have, but knowing that there was already something done gave me a plan to do something else. That's where I feel like batch cooking and freezer meals are great. Do you have to prepare? You don't have to, but I feel like it saves you time to invest a little bit, and then you've got it for a long time. You know what I mean? So I recommend doing the baking things because that's easy. And then I always say dinner, make another batch of something like lasagna, make 2, throw one in the freezer. If you make some kind of taco meat, make a little bit extra and then freeze some of it. So next time all you gotta do is thaw it and just heat it up. It's done. You don't have to worry about it. Those are just one simple things. Meatballs, you make some, make a couple, then you put them in the freezer. You got them for the whole, like one every single week. Find a meal that you enjoy every week and make 4 times the amount. Make it times 3, times 4. So then every week that dinner is done. It just helps your days fly by. You can always use more time in your day, can you not? Oh yeah, you can. And that is just one way that you can do it, because you cannot have to worry about being in your kitchen, because I can always find something else better to do than making food. So batch cooking, let me know. Put it below in the description, some things that you do for batch cooking. I know I've done everything. I have done everything that you can possibly freeze. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, smoothies, whatever. I've got it all done. Been done. But now that I don't do it as much, it's like, what are some things that you do on a regular basis for your home? Minus my meats. I feel like my meats are my number one. Cooking my hamburger beforehand, getting my chicken grilled, getting it cut up, prepared, making the meatballs, getting that kind of stuff, roast, cutting it all up so I don't have to worry about it. So what is something that you do that just is game changer for food prep, that you do kind of like batch cooking or batch preparing for your home? All right, you ready? All right, let's go do our emotional wellness. We're focusing on extending kindness to people, doing different things that just bring that little bit of like just kindness that you can share with people. And so this week, you're gonna focus on visiting somebody elderly. I don't know what that looks like in your sphere of circle of influence. Maybe it's going to be a neighbor. Maybe it's going to be a neighbor you're going to stop and just say, hey, just wanted to say hi and introduce myself. Maybe take some homemade treats, or I don't know, some flowers or something like that, or just wanted to stop and say hey, to just introduce and say, this is me. If you need anything, let me know. And so I remember when the kids were younger back in Michigan, I had a lot of little kids, so life was busy. I wasn't out visiting a lot of elderly people because life was busy, but once a year we would muster up with all the kids. It was busy and crazy, nursing babies, toddlers, everything else, and we would visit the older folks home. And I'm sure there's a better name for the older folks home. We always call it the old folks home. There's probably a more correct terminology, so I apologize. Let me know what the new word is. I'm not on the up and up of everything, but I'm sure there's a better term to use, just the older generation homes. And so and we'd go with our kids. There would be, I don't know, 100 kids, and they were all the homeschool kids. They'd come together. Kids would play their guitars, and we would sing Christmas songs, not be perfect at all. And we would make crafts with them. I remember making a little marshmallow snowman, and we would stick the pieces together with frosting, a mess. A complete mess. Elderly people that don't have much function with their hands, little kids that don't really have control of anything. And then we would have cookies that we would get together, and we would ice hundreds of cookies. We would have a day before, and then we'd get together with our friends and we'd ice hundreds of cookies and make fun little ornaments. We'd do little kids, and everybody would make like a Christmas ornament. So then when we went, the kids were able to take a cookie and a little ornament and give it to an elderly person, so that no one was left out. And I have to laugh because I remember these old elderly people, and I just remember seeing a lot of them. They'd be there with these little kids sitting next to them in chairs, and they'd be putting these little snowmen together, and the kids are licking their fingers, and it's just messy kids just enjoying having fun. And you have older people eating cookies. They didn't care that the kids made them themselves, even though we were careful making them and making sure there's no germs. I know probably now they don't do that stuff, but they didn't care. They were just happy to have someone visit them, to think of them, and want to spend time with them. And that just brought such joy to their days. Like, they look forward to that every single year. We look forward to doing that every single year. You left there, and inside you went, wow, that's a good thing that we did. That was a great thing to do. I know my older ones still remember doing that. Do they remember how crazy it was to get out the door? Probably not, but they do remember the time getting together with everybody, making hundreds of cookies and frosting them and just having fun with everybody. Always good memories. So I don't know how that looks. How does that look in your house? How does that look in your life? We would always have elderly neighbors, and especially when we move to a new home, and we try to go introduce ourselves to them and maybe take some baked treats to them. Nothing too fancy, nothing too much, but just to say, hey, we're next door if you need anything, or just wanted to introduce ourselves and the kids and I, and just so you know who we are and that. And so that brought a lot of good, just good knowing who your neighbors are. It's good knowing some elderly people, and good to check on them too, because there's probably a lot that their family can't get to them right away, and you are right next door, a lot closer to be able to get to them in quicker situations. So extending kindness this month. So let's think about our elderly and see if you can do some kind of little bit of happiness in their day. All right, so short and sweet this week. So we've gone through 30 weeks. That's just a lot. We're way more than halfway done, which is great. So we're almost through our entire home. Hopefully you picked a few healthy routines that you wanted to implement this year, and a little bit of the emotional wellness so that you can make your mind, your heart, your soul, everything feel much more complete this year. So thank you again for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up every single day. So you have the best rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye.